Happy New Year. Wanted to come to you again real quick and discuss this guitar, and in particular this Certano bender setup that's installed. This guitar is turning out to be the most wonderful sounding instrument that I own and possibly have ever owned or played, and I've got quite a number of instruments, but it's a decent piece of wood or pieces of wood, and then I have replaced a lot of the components, including the bridge, the pickups, all the wiring system, but it starts with the strings. The strings are where the rubber meets the road, and I am absolutely dedicated to Thomastic Infeld. They have a range of strings, each of which sounds absolutely incredible and far and away above any peer competitor type string. So on this guitar right now, I'm using my first set of Power Brights, and it will not be my last set. These are stunning in terms of the detail and the clarity and everything along those lines. With this guitar, I can get a wide range of tones because I've got these pickups wired out of phase. I can put them in humbucker mode, or I can put them in single coil mode, and that gives a whole bunch of variety, and every one of them sounds absolutely incredible. I've got one of my Wagon picks here, and that sounds incredibly varied depending on what surface of the pick you use. So I can go from a good solid body jazz tone to some type of crazy bright thin I can bend half steps, and I can bend whole steps, and I can do that together. And with this incredible Certano bender, I can have it be in tune. They're bending to the proper note. The pressure required is just right, so that I can precisely engage the bender. Even if I want to engage the bender a half step while it's set on a full step, I can do that. And I can, of course, bend my fingers in order to get farther than that. So I'm really enjoying that little added flavor in my playing. Lets me do things that I can't do musically any other way. Extremely beneficial, addictive, and the Certano bender is my favorite of the systems that I've tried. I have a Duesenberg system on another guitar, and I've got a single rolling bender on another guitar. And those are both great systems. I use them. I'm not ripping them off the guitar. The rolling bender, I've got it set in a floating trim, so it's hard to get it to return to, pitch perfect. That tends to knock the trim out a little bit. I probably need to do some work on the nut and stuff like that. The Duesenberg system guitar definitely needs some nut work. This guitar could probably benefit by 1% by having the nut cut, polished, oiled, etc. But that is the biggest difference in my experience between any of the bender systems. This one essentially stays in tune, at least as much as a regular guitar where you're bending strings. And most of that comes from the nut. I did put a rolling bridge on here, a roller bridge, a Wilkinson, and I'm sure that doesn't hurt, but it goes back in pitch, and so I can get in tune even when you're using the bender. That's got a lot to do with the bender end of things in addition to the nut. With the rolling bender, the Duesenberg bender, there's like a pad that, when you relax and disengage, it returns to its 0 point. That little rubber pad tends to create a slight bit of intonation issue, so I have to pull up on the lever to get it all the way. I've experimented with removing the pads, things like that, but frequently I'm the Duesenberg having to pull on it to get it exactly right. This one, I don't have to expend any energy or take away from playing in order to get it to go back where it needs to be. So I honestly can't say enough positive things about this Certano system. Also was motivated to make this video today for another reason. You might be aware that we've got a large-scale conflict ongoing in the world, which has had a major impact on Europe. It is extremely unfortunate. We should all be praying for the best for all concerned, but the citizens of Europe are suffering. It is now winter in the northern hemisphere, and unfortunately their energy supplies have been disrupted, and now they are all faced with paying anywhere from double to 5 times to 10 times as much for their energy supplies. And so electric bills, gas bills across Europe are breaking budgets. Thankfully, we're not experiencing that same degree of inflation in the United States. Certainly, we are struggling with it on some levels, and it could get worse here. But our friends in Europe, including Mr. David Certano, have had quite a struggle with inflation. Creating these benders is likely an energy-intensive process with power tools, with fabrication, metallurgy or metalwork, machine shop, things like that. In addition to having a family and needing to put food on the table and all those things. So I wanted to make a video to encourage anyone that's on the fence about a Certano bender to go ahead and purchase one. it will benefit you just like you're hoping and dreaming that it will, if you're interested in it at all. And it will benefit David Certano, who is a wonderful human. Gotten to know him in broken English to French translations, but he and I are friends, and I would like to do what I can to support his business. I'm strongly considering ordering a second unit for a guitar that I have that's pretty much identical to this, or for a telly that I need to go ahead and benderify so I can have that flavor as well. But I do see myself using Certano benders more or less across the board because they are a fantastic product. They work like they should. They're easy to operate. They don't break strings. Generally, I did break a string for the first time a few days ago after I was just real heavily using the bender. But that set of strings was 6 or 8 months old. So, it was time for it to break, and it gave me an excuse to put on some Tomastics, which I really... Tomastics are magical strings, in my opinion. Interesting to note, for Christmas, my mother gave me a Quilter Super Block US that you can see here, and then I bought myself a Christmas present in the form of a JBL D123, and that is the best sounding speaker I've ever heard. When you combine the Tomastics, when you combine the Bill Lawrence L500 pickups, the infinitely variable switching electronic system. I've got a Bill Lawrence cable plugging in between me and that Quilter, and then the Quilter directly into that JBL 123. I've never had sounds this great coming from my gear, honestly. Very, very blessed in this new year to have such an amazing sounding tool to work with, or set of tools. And really the Certano is cream of the crop in that regard. So anyway, if you're on the fence, go ahead and make a move in this new year, and it will benefit all concerned. Okay, thanks. Have a great day.